Alright guys, so today I'm gonna be just drawing. This is gonna be unedited video, just the raw footage probably, and basically I just wanted to draw an image and also tell you guys about my science fiction movie idea, you know. I think it would be science fiction, but anyway, this has been an idea I've had for a while, so I just wanted to, draw a sketch of it maybe, and then, tell you guys what it's gonna be. So, basically my idea is that there's like a a prototype thing they sent out. Like they had recently, scientists had developed technology to create a super fast, space probe that would go like farther than they ever had before, right? And it basically would then go out, and then every year it takes like about a year for the signals to come back. So it will take picture every year, and then the next year the people will get it. And basically it will then go to, send pictures of like planets they hadn't seen before and just, normal stuff. And then eventually, well, I'll just tell you more about that. So the scientists get, here, I'll just pause real quick. Ah, yes. Oh, that's right, we were gonna watch the, drawing, yes, okay. Okay, we're back to the drawing. So, yes, as I was in the story, so basically I made the probe here, and they launched this out into space to, try and find other planets, or not other planets, to just, or yeah, that too, but just in general, to go to the other, like, as far as they can, right? So, that's what I'm drawing now, is just, the probe sorta in space. How this probe would actually be launched is through something like a space shuttle. I know they release satellites from those sometimes, possibly. So it would basically go up there and would release this, and then it would start its journey. And it basically is going really fast and then doesn't use much fuel, right? Because obviously they don't have enough fuel to go however far it's gonna go. They don't even know. So it would just be like that, yeah. Yes, I know that's a mistake. It's also 8:50, so, yeah. Well, it's been pretty rainy these past weekend. Okay, yeah. No, anyway, okay. So. Ooh, that's cool. The stars kind of like twinkle, sorta, if you go in and out of the photo. Anyways, so they're off. They sent the probe off. These are the cameras. This is just a random flag thing I made, like Earth, and a bunch of question marks in pixel form. So it's got like cameras on all the sides. That's just there, So, next thing. This is where it it gets more interesting. So basically, they're sending back the pictures, right? And then they get this picture of basically it's like a picture. How do you say this? I don't know. I haven't decided the angle of the picture. Let's just say this. This is the angle of the picture. So we're gonna roughly mark out that, and then we're gonna use this tool. Start from back here. Oh. Alright, there we go. So we just got to add the stars. So basically, it'll make it to the end, essentially the end of the space. And white is going to represent literally the abyss, like something you probably could not process and obviously can't draw, which is literally nothing. So literally nothing. It registered in the photo as white, but it is literally nothing. Because the reason it registered as white would be because there's nothing there, so it's just a blank color. And this, keep in mind, was a year ago that they were, or a year after this photo was taken, because it takes that long. You could tweak that in if this was like an actual movie, because the farther away it gets, the longer the signal takes to get there, and blah blah blah, you know. But for this, we'll just say a year. Maybe it was like 5 years, maybe a lot faster, or a lot longer than that. But this is just sort of estimating. Just takes a whole long time to draw these things. Anyway, back to the point. So it reaches the end of the galaxy, and there's a little fade of the black, and it literally goes to nothing. So let's actually represent this so I can remember. Okay, literally nothing. So after they get this, then they're like, what the heck? Why is it white? Like, is this the void? But obviously it wouldn't say this, but it does have like a text or something that would say like unregistered or something, because they know that this is the background character. So it just fades, you know, into literally nothing. So they decide, you know, well, let's just wait for another picture. And the other picture would probably look something like this. So now they're just like really confused. So what they do is they decide, alright, well, since the camera can't register what this is, then we're gonna send out a probe to essentially the end of the universe. They don't know that, though, at this point, but they decide to send out the probe. And the probe is what I'm gonna draw here, or not the probe, the probe was this. This is the vessel, the manned crew vessel. So it's going to look something like this. we're gonna have it's gonna be a pretty like narrow-ish vessel, but it's gonna have a few things. So the basic design would probably look something like this. Obviously I'm gonna add more details, but basically this is equipped with a, you know, everything you'd need to survive the few days, or not few days, few years that it's gonna take to get there. Although it won't take as long as it would before, because they have, like I said, this new technology that's really fast, so they're gonna use similar technology for that on this one. Same with the fuel supply and stuff. So, let's just color in stuff. Let's see, what color should we make this? We're just gonna make it sort of like a gray. Here we go. And then it's gonna be equipped with a couple viewing areas where you can actually see outside of this spacecraft. Oh. There's gonna be some triangle windows at the top. Oh, hold on, I'm doing this wrong. I don't know, this is just rough sketch, so it's not, you know, completely perfect. Let's just make it blue to hollow? Oh, that's because oh no, okay. Okay, let's just leave it like that. So, there's some windows there, and then we're just gonna add some random stuff, but basically, there's the crew going on this mission to find out, you know, what this is, because the cameras can't register, so we need someone to communicate what this actually is. Although, obviously, the problem is that there's no way to actually communicate, at least not within, like, 2 years, so they can't solve issues in real time, which is why they're gonna have several rooms in this area here, and this area, obviously. This area is gonna be reserved for the, you know, booster and stuff. And then these aren't separating the rooms; these are just the outside. But they're gonna have the separate rooms here where they will go piloting, and then this is all the stuff here. And keep in mind, let me draw a person compared to this, just for reference. So, a person, let's see, not that small, but a person would be about like this big, right? Or not that big, or it's small. It would probably be more like person's head there, right? So you can get like the rest of the body, like a little smaller than that. So that's kind of rough estimate. So it's not an insanely big ship, but they're looking for speed, not exactly space. Although they are looking in space. And then right here is going to be, like, they can't really access that until the other mission, because that's going to be the, what's it called? The other pod, because they're not gonna take this into essentially what they think is the abyss, because they want something to sit there and work on transferring more inform or not transferring information. That's what they're gonna do. They want something there as like a home base to know how to get back. Because if they go forward, then they can track this down and go backward from where it's facing. Yes. So that's like rough draft of what that would look like. And then this will be the second one. So eventually they actually reach the essentially sorry about that. I am trying to figure out what to say, and I started talking before I knew what to say. So that now they have preach a preach. What is it a preach? Can someone comment down below what is in a preach? I actually want to know that. Anyone know what an a preach is? A preach. Anyways, so now they go to basically the end of space. So we're gonna have their spacecraft. Let's see. Let me screenshot. Oh, I can't screenshot while it's recording. Let's just draw basic shapes then. Let's see. So essentially, their spacecraft is going to be here. So they got this, like this, right? Oh, wrong picture. And then this, kinda, not really, but getting to the point. You should probably watch this in 2x speed if you want to get to the details faster, because I'm gonna talk for a long time over nothing. If I change that color here, nah, well, wait. That color? No, I won't do that. Okay, so they reach the event horizon. Where'd that come from? They reach dang, how do I say this? I really should have wrote a script or something, I don't know, but they reach the end of space, essentially, or what they believe to be the end of space, and in this compartment is their, other vessels, so they then go out of there, into the event horizon. Now, when they look at this, they literally can't see anything, right? And that's kind of what the scientists were expecting. So they built this vessel just to make the audience, if this was a movie, more curious. That's obviously not why they actually built it in canon, but they basically would build this vessel that has one window at the very front, and that's literally it. And the vessel is also just shaped like this, basically. It's just a simple sphere, or yeah, cylinder. There we go. It's shaped like a cylinder, and the only window is right there at the front. And let me just finish up this. Alright, so now this would essentially be the outside of the spacecraft, pretty much. You could probably change it for, if there was ever like a movie. I might try to make this my next like short film. That'd be cool. But I'll need to add the bolts here. Oh. Should probably make this a different color if I can. How about like ooh, I know. A blue, but like a transparent blue. I'm not sure that works. Anyway, they then begin their descent into the abyss. And when they look out of this little window here, they literally see nothing. They can't see anything at all. So, they don't know what's going on. The only thing they can see, right, obviously is the inside of the vehicle. And nothing out the window. Now, nothing... I mean, I can't really exactly imagine it. I saw this one video where, because, you know, apparently blind people do not see, you know, just a color black, right? They actually don't have vision, so they can't see anything. Now, us, people who have eyesight, obviously, can't exactly imagine what that would be like, because we've pretty much always had eyesight, unless you gained it, after being blind. But basically, we don't have a comprehension. But, yeah, to the point, I saw this video once, where someone was saying, who was blind, was saying the best way to describe it is like, imagine trying to see through, like, out of your knee, right? And you just can't do it, right? You don't see anything. We're gonna be using a white void to represent nothing, because, again, don't know what that would actually be like. So, in their journey here, what am I doing with? In their journey here, back to this. So it's gonna be like a sort of ominous movie, short film, whatever it ends up being, if it ends up being anything. It will be sort of just strange, right? And sorry if the color isn't consistent for this. I don't really have the ability to copy the exact color, but I'll try. Yeah. Anyway, so it's sort of just like, on top of, you know, seeing nothing, they also hear nothing. Except, well, they can hear stuff inside here. But that's how it would be anywhere else in space, apparently. So, again, nothing like super weird here. It's mainly just sight that's weirding them out, as they can't see anything as they go through this distant void of apparently just nothing, as far as they can tell. So, in their journeys, though, then eventually they feel like a giant thud against the thing. Obviously no sound, but they just feel a giant thud and feel like there's sort of like some sort of shift. Although I don't know if you'd really feel that in space. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. Okay, that's about what I thought. Anyways. So, allegedly, according to Google, then you would feel it. So, they feel this bang on the side of their spacecraft. And they look out the window, they still literally can't see anything. And they don't look at it for too long, because it just looks wrong to them. All of this, they're writing down in a journal entry that they're gonna send, taking pictures, making this sort of document where they will send back to headquarters. And they can't explain what happened. There's also real-time security camera. How did they get all the electricity? I'll figure it out later. Anyways, so I don't know, solar panels or something, although I don't know if that would work here. The point is, there's a security camera thing inside the hull of the vehicle, the spacecraft, and they, looked back at the footage, obviously clipped that footage to put in the dock, because that was weird, and they look out the window, still see nothing, because if there was something outside the window, there would be something outside the window surrounded by nothing. Now, they don't know, so they can't see anything outside the window, right? If there's something here, it would be coming from somewhere out in space onto here. So more in this direction, and it not go in this direction. May I also add that this is like a very, very thick pane of glass too. Like a very... Anyway, just so it doesn't break, and there's like a couple layers too. So this obviously, makes them really uneasy, because they can't see anything out of the window, literally can't see anything. And they're basically just in this tin can floating into the void. And they have to venture out as far as they can before turning around or not turning around. If they choose to, they can try to go into the abyss forever. And if they do, then they might not come back, unless they probably will. They're planning on it, unless they want to investigate further. But, yeah, edge of space, then here. And then, it kind of builds up suspense. And this is still storyboarding, like it might not actually happen in a short film. But all of a sudden, outside their vehicle, they see something in the nothing, right? And to them, it kind of just looks like a bunch of scribbles, right? Sort of 2D and 3D at the same time. Like it's a 2D shape, but it has this 3D aesthetic as the tentacle can go nearer and closer. And it's basically just outside this ship, right there. And now they can't make out what it is. Although, if we put it into... Hold on. Tin can ship is going to be represented for further use in this creature's dimension and perspective as two shapes, because this creature doesn't use it uses 3 dimensions in a sense. It's not exactly 2D, but it's not exactly 3D, as it was described as kind of appearing as more 3D, but still an aesthetic of 2D, right? So then, in this creature's view, though, it's not just a bunch of scribbles. This creature's perspective, you know, it looks more like, sort of like this. So, this would be what they're appearing as, what is appearing to them as just scribbles. Now let's not add those. So this is going to be a very specific design too, because there's more anatomy I could get into, but basically they have a way of propelling around this void of nothing, but to them, it's not nothing, you know? We're gonna kind of just pick a random variant and say that this is a color we can't see. Obviously you can see it, but we're gonna say this is what it looks like to them, and to them there are also like actual planets that they can see, or like at least their version of stars and stuff. Alright, I'm not gonna draw too many of these, because you get the idea. No, it's not actually a specific design, I might change it, but let's just say it'll look something like that. So, to this creature, then they're the thing that they can't see. And the color they can't see, let's see, it's gonna be represented as this. Or wait, no, they're gonna be represented as this, right? And they're gonna be represented as just black and white lines. So to them, it's pretty much color opposite. Or actually, let me make it more interesting. How about the color that they can't process is black? Like, to them, it's the opposite. Because, you know, in this image, to them, you know, black they can process. This is nothing to them. Literally nothing. Represented by white. This is something to them. But only by the outline. This part. Besides the general shape, it's literally a patch of nothing to these guys. So these guys will see, or this person, or not person, this entity will see them like this. It appears to them as basically nothing represented by that. And here, they are in a void of nothing. And the creature is presented to them as this. Or wait, no. I'm gonna do something better here. The creature is gonna be represented like this. It's gonna be like again, nothing. Except for the general little tiny outline. So it's gonna look like basically this giant mass, right? And it will kind of like color shift between the variants. So it looks like this. And these are just actual colors, but they're going to be represented as colors that we can't see, that these guys can see, or something, you know. So, and I'm going to be so honest, after this point in the story, I just started making it up. Past this point, I pretty much had everything planned out. These are just new concepts. And so basically, they're both very confused, right? These guys are very confused about why they can kind of make out this 2D but 3D object that's in front of them. And this guy is confused of why he sees a patch of nothing that appears to have a shape, right? So, what happens is I have no clue, and I'm gonna end the video here, because I myself need to figure out what's gonna happen next with this story. Leave any comments if you got any ideas, and tell me if I should expand on this story, because I don't know, the concept, these two last panels, you could take however you want, but I think my favorites are, you know, the idea they send out a pod, they discover a photo of nothing right next to here. It like fades out into nothing, and then they build a vessel. They then go into nothing. After this point, these two were made up on the spot. Tell me if you like the last two. If you do, then I'll keep going with the story. Anyway, sorry for it being such a long unedited video. And good night, ladies and gentlemen. It's 9:25. This has taken way too long. I'm going to bed. Tomorrow's Monday.